Now, this is a film all about me. The robin. Cock robin, robin redbreast. The Anglo-Saxons used to call me the ruddock. But whatever you call me, I'm the best known and most loved British bird. In fact, I'm the official national bird. Yeah. Now, let's see. Must be time for 11s. And any minute now, that window is going to open, and you'll see what I mean? Oh, how's that for training? Oh, lovely. Oh, hello, we just dropped one. Oh, lovely, it's my favourite. Mealworms. Mmm, delicious, delicious. Whew. Hello, there's the thrush. He's a cousin of mine, you know. Yes, of course, a lot of other birds eat here as well, and we do need a few extras in the winter. Hello. Hello, what's she bringing out now? That looks like Christmas cake. What a good idea. Yes, nothing like a bit of Christmas cake. Oh, mmm. Yeah, that's the trouble, though. That's the trouble. You always get this lot, and they spend more time... Hello, that was a rook, wasn't it? That was a rook. I just saw a rook. These starlings spend more time squabbling than they do eating. There's the old chaffinch there. Hello. Oh, oh, you don't get many rooks in this garden, I'll tell you. There's a sparrow there. Well, he can shift some cake, that one. Look at him, more like a gannet. Oh. Another thing you get at this time of the year is the Christmas card. And ever since the early 1860s, when commercial cards were first produced, who is it you see all bright and cheerful on the front of the cards? Well, it's me, of course. Well, I did say I was Britain's most popular bird, didn't I? It's a funny thing, but you don't see... Hello, what's he having? You don't see many starlings on Christmas cards. A couple of owls now and again. Oh, and did you know the Victorians called their letter carriers redbreasts or robin postmen? Because they wore royal red frock coats and crimson waistcoats. There were all sorts of weird and wonderful cards. I'm not potty about this one because I think there's a robin in that cage. Look at this. This is ridiculous. It's all present and correct, sir. Kicking his legs about, it's disgraceful. Beagles are quite popular too. Little choir there. Oh dear. Yeah, I think he must be an Australian robin. Still, with all these singing robins on cards, they're no substitute for the real thing, are they? Nah. Another place you'll always find a robin is in a churchyard. And sometimes inside the church, on the stained glass windows. You see, there is a legend that our redbreasts are a result of a robin removing a thorn from Christ's crown. Yes, my great-great-grandfather posed for that. Very handsome. Yeah, those aren't robins. Those are angels. And the other thing is, churchyards usually have lovely nest sites. Thick yew hedges, old walls, ivy-covered trees, and lots of very good songposts. Now, that's extremely important, that. And did you know we're always supposed to sing sweeter on Christmas Day? Nice thought, isn't it? Now, I don't live in a churchyard, so just let me show you where I do live. I don't usually fly as high as this, but I thought you might like to get the general picture, you see, because you'll find robins in almost every garden in Britain. Funny, isn't it? Nice area, though. Now, this is more my usual altitude. And here we are. Are you ready for this? That's it. Number 132 Acacia Avenue. This is my home, complete with good food diploma. Now, I can show you around properly. Oh, and if I stop now and again to sing a bit, don't worry, it's just the way that I establish my territory. And if I pause and sort of listen, that's so I'll know where my rival's territory might be. That's why I said songposts are very important. Now look, that pear tree there, that's a beauty, isn't it? Yeah, you see, nice and high, and I can make sure that all the other robins can hear me. Now then, this is all mine. That's the back view of the house there. Yes, it's all mine. This is it. All this garden. And we don't stick to your boundaries, you know. No, because I go through this garden and over this lovely thick hedge there and into the neighbouring vegetable patch at 134. Super, isn't it? Look at all that. Great. Oh, and there's another lovely song post. That's a sort of border post, that one. It's right on the boundary. There is one snag with all this, though. There he is, got 4 legs and a meow. Oh, that's where we had our nest last year. Yeah, and there's the song post. What did I tell you? Lovely May tree. I better just give that cat a quick burst on the banjo, I think. Yes, seems to have done the trick. Goodbye. Oh, did I say there was one snag? Yes, there is another. That's him. He's from next door. Excuse me a minute, I must just see him off. A few vigorous displays of the old redbreast, a few battle cries. That should sort him out. You know, these territorial skirmishes are very important. I mean, I've got to defend my little bit, because there's my food supply to think of, my nest site. I mean, I've got to protect all these in order to raise a family. Hello, what does he want? Come to see fair play? Or perhaps he wants to play the loser. Yes, and we all know who that's going to be, don't we? Oh, look at him. Oi, you, oi! Get out of it! Really? Oh, look at him. Look at him. Thinks it's Wimbledon. Now, ignore the cat and get on with my match of the day. Well, I'll just give him another quick burst. If that doesn't work, I shall try the head swaying, I think. Oh, look at him. Look at him. He's trying the ticking and the tail twitch. No. No, he's not having any. Right. I shall give him the head swaying. And if that doesn't do the trick, I shall just have to jump on him again. Oh, dear, can't have this coming in my garden. He's a fool. He is a fool. Still, I'll say one thing for him. He's got guts, that Robin. He's seen enough. Hello, he's back. Well, that's done the trick. For today, at least. Ah. Hello, what's this? Reinforcements? What is this? Not another one. Oh, dear. Here we go again. Although, not sure. You know, one of the problems with robins is that the male and the female are identical, and at first you can't be sure if it's a male who's going to beat you up or a female with designs on your body. Because the lady does the choosing, you see. And I do believe, oh yes, in this case, oh, I'm in love. Oh. Oh. Oh, dear. Well, I'd better give her a conducted tour. Show her the other occupants of 132's garden. Yes. She'd like that, I'm sure. Would you? Well, then, where should we start? Oh, I know. There we are. Start from here. What do you think of it? That's a sparrow, in case you weren't sure. There's a high-level dining area. Yeah. Oh, she's lovely. Here. I'm engaged. Yeah, and I'm hungry. Oh, dear. Oh, what's that? Oh, that's a blue tit. That's one of the acrobats. Yes. Oh, there's another one. And that's the great tit. He's a bit bossy now and again, but he's very good at the upside-down peanut bashing. It's funny, isn't it? It made me laugh. Oh, dear. Look out. Look out. Here they are. No wonder they call them vulgaris. Let's have a little snack while I'm waiting. Quite nice, that. Look at this. Look at him. Call that singing? Great scruffy thing. Get out of it. You know, all these other birds do compete a bit for food, but they're not much trouble when it comes to nest sites. Yes, and the missus will choose where our nest is going to be. although they can build in some funny places. I mean, they found nests in old kettles and old cars, in a Bible, even in the body of a dead cat. Yeah, that's funny, that, isn't it? Quite a nice thought, though. The body of a dead cat. Good heavens. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. There he is. That's Harry. Now, Harry, he left this old watering can in the hedge, you see? I suppose he thought we might nest in it. Well, in any case, you can usually find a nice grub inside it. Oh, gotcha. Nice. There you are, dear. Got to keep your strength up. Now, once she's decided where the nest is going to be, she'll start collecting materials. Now, these vary enormously, but generally, the nest is made from dead leaves, grass, and moss, and is lined with hair and fine roots and sometimes even feathers. Yeah, I thought she'd decide to build in the hedge. What a sensible bird I've found. What a lovely place, honestly. Could you ask for more? Oh, that does look cosy. That's going to be lovely, dear. Smashing. Now, all this feeding of the female from the start of nest building helps enormously in what is called pair bonding. And I give her all sorts of things. Insects, larvae, fruit, seeds, worms, especially worms. She does love a nice worm. Oh, yeah, oh, I know, yes, hello. Yes, you see, they got the hens there, you see. That'd be very useful. Might find a few feathers over there and a few snacks as well. Yes. And we find a lot of our food on the ground. You find lovely things on lawns. You get ants, leather jackets, all sorts of delicious goodies. And then, of course, you get other people feeding here as well. I mean, you get the blue tits. Hello. Oh, there's a coal tit. Don't see too many of those. See a lot of sparrows, though. Nearly as bad as the starlings, they are. What do I see? What do I see? Oh. I bet Harry put that there. I bet you, Harry. Do love a nice worm. Yes, thank you, Harry. Oh, delicious. Delicious. Now what's she doing? What have you got? What's that? No, chuck it out, dear. It looks a bit unyielding. That's the idea. Now, while the missus is getting on with all this nest building and egg laying, I get on with defending my territory. In fact, I spend about 60% of my life doing just that. Yeah. Hello? The wife's been busy? Of course, I did my bit as well. We usually have 5 or 6 eggs, and the missus does all the incubating. I mean, she'll leave the nest about 3 times an hour, you know, wander about, have a feed herself, but usually I feed her most of the time until the eggs hatch. And that takes about 14 days, and then we both take over feeding duties. Yeah, the reason I don't help with the incubating is because I've got this deal going with Harry, you see. He digs the worms, and we eat them. Good old Harry. Yeah. Of course, I do find a few myself at the bottom of the hedges. No, but Harry, you see, he keeps trying to keep this pair bond going between him and me. He will keep going like that. You watch, you watch. See? Got a lovely pair bond, me and Harry. But as I say, I do find my own as well as what he gives me. No, Harry, no, it's no good. It's no good doing that when she's settling down. Oh, dear. Hope he hasn't disturbed her. You better chuck it over here, Harry. Thanks. Yeah, I thought the dog was going to fetch it then. Oh, no, he's packing up. Oh, must be tea time. Well, I'm blowed. Didn't time fly? Yes, there they go. There they go. See you later, Harry. You know, I do love standing on a nice, warm spade handle, especially when I can see Carol coming with the mealworms. Oh. Of course, she must have come out of a big egg. Come on, dear, don't hang about. Look at those. Oh, lovely. Lovely. Thank you. Just get a couple more for the missus. Yes, that'll do. Here we are, dear. There you are. Yep. Yes, all right. All right. Yes. Now just don't snatch, dear. Good heavens. Hello. Look who's here. Yes, here comes trouble. Better sound the alarm. The old tick-tick, the tail twitch. Tell everybody what's occurring. Hello, what's happening now? Oh, look at that. Look at that. She's eating the eggshells. I mean, how's that for recycling? Eating the eggshells? I'm a daddy. Oh, I'm a daddy. I'm a daddy. Yeah, he's probably had the operation. Ah, well done, dear. That's all I can say. Honest, marvellous. Well done. And here we are, a few days later, and they're already beginning to get their feathers. Look at them. They're beautiful. Yes, now we're both going to be hard at it bringing food to the nest. And at the same time, I shall still feed the missus so that our pair bond stays strong. And I shall do that, look, there we are. I shall do that until the chicks are a week old. Hey, do you know, somebody worked it out once. No, it wasn't us because, I mean, we are far too busy. But they worked it out that the parents visit the nest once every 2.5 minutes. Yeah. And they reckon that an average family of 5 chicks got through about 700 caterpillars in a day. In one day. You think of that, you gardeners, eh? That means that each chick had about 140 caterpillars or grubs, you know. Think of that! 140. Fantastic. Didn't seem to want that, did you, dear? Never mind. 140 caterpillars or grubs per chick per day. Quite incredible. Quite incredible. It's enough to make your wings ache. Of course, they weren't all enormous grubs. I mean, some are smaller than others. I mean, they weren't all as big as this one, for instance. I mean, if you could feed them with that, they wouldn't eat 140. They'd probably just eat 14. Now, come on, just, would you? Thank you. Get hold of it. That's it. Down it goes. Lovely. Now, the obvious end product of all this food is a fecal sac, which we remove from the nest site so that we don't give away its position. Come on, then. There we are. I wonder how the neighbours' youngsters are getting on. I've an idea they're a few days older than my lot. Yeah, I think I might pop over and have a look in the shed over there. Oh, yes, there they are. Oh, hopping about. Yes, they're not as pretty as mine, of course. Yes, and I bet they smell of paint. They're quite large, though. They'll be on their second brood soon, I shouldn't wonder. And then some pairs have 3 broods, can you imagine? There's even a record of one pair having 4. Oh, the mind boggles. The mind boggles. 4 broods, can you imagine? Well, that's enough of next doors, kids. I'd better get back to feeding my lot. They'll be starving. There you are. There you are, right. Number 2. Who are you? Open wide. That's a good boy. Hello, hello. That neighbour's cat, you know, he never gives up. Where's he now? Where's he got to? There he is. Yeah, hello, he's heard something. Dear me, they're making a lot of noise. I think I'd better go in the back door. Yeah, now, eat that and keep the noise down, and I'll go and distract that moggy. Yeah, that fooled him. Stupid creature. Shh. Oh, I don't know. Look at it. Look at it. 2 weeks of this. Yes. I don't think we'll bother with the second brood. Still, we'll see, won't we? We'll see. Keep it up. Keep pumping in the food. Taking away the sacks. Non-stop. Non-stop. Now then, who wants this? Come on. Don't. Yes, try again. There you are. That's it. No, you keep spitting it out. That's no good. You're supposed to swallow it. That's it. Oh, come on. Now then, try that end. Turn it round. Try that end. You're no good at all. You're no... Listen, you better have a go at it. Hang on. We'll try you. On the right. You. There you go. There. No, you're not managing at all. Give it here. Oh, dear me. Could we have a smaller worm, please? Yes, that's about the size. Take it in, will you? Oh, dear. Whew, quite exhausted. Ah, that's better. Yes, that's the one. That's the right size. Get it down, your son. Come on, what's he whizzing round for? Come on, then. Hasn't it gone yet? Oh, come on, Oh, yes, definitely winning. Definitely winning. The worm, I mean. Oh, look, eyes closed. Bliss. Look, just get a bit more. Go. Come on. Just try again, please. I'm quite exhausted watching you, I really am. You've been at it? Has it... Ah, that's my boy. Well done. Well done. Keep the mouth shut or it might escape. Well, it's about 2 weeks before the chicks are ready to leave the nest. And then once they've gone, we do usually have another family. And our nesting season can be from late March up to June. And then, of course, once the chicks have left the nest and they're creeping about, learning to feed themselves, they're in great danger from next door's cat. That's one of the reasons they're all sort of spotted, help to camouflage them when they're creeping about under the hedges. I look after them usually when they're doing that, while the missus is getting on with our second brood. And having mentioned the cat, you see, I mean, we've got owls to contend with, stoats, rats, I mean, they're all a threat. But it's reckoned that the garden cat takes 40 times more robins than any other predator. Imagine that, 40 times more. So you see, we've got to keep an eye on them. And keep distracting that moggy. Aren't they lovely? Little things. Now you see, just don't go mad. Walking about and fluttering, I'm coming. You'll get fed, but just don't make yourself obvious. Otherwise, he'll be off like a rocket. A great flash of white and tawny fur, and it's goodbye time. What have you got? Oh, doing well. Picking them up himself now. You can't eat leaves. No, you can't eat leaves. You're a robin. You eat worms. Ah, silly. There you are. Have a worm instead. And one for you. One, two, three. Yeah. Where's the fifth one? Now then, what'd I tell you? Lie low. Lie low. Oi. Come in. Get in the holly. The holly, what a twit. Have that and get in the holly. Look out. Oh, dear. You gave me a fright. That was a very close thing, that was. And don't forget, robins don't live very long anyway. I mean, you are pushing your luck with that moggy. You won't see the end of your first month, never mind your first year. And then maybe about a month after the last of the chicks have flown, I start my molt. And that's about the only time in the year that you won't hear me singing. Because I've got to keep a very low profile, because I'm not quite so nippy, you see. Of course, if I was a continental robin, I should probably migrate south like those swallows are thinking of doing. Yeah, they'll be off soon. But most British robins stay put. The females might move away from the breeding area, either, just locally or in some cases quite a long distance. But I've got to stay, I've got to defend my territory, because there'll be a lot of this year's young robins who'll be looking for a place of their own. And I've got to drive my lot away as well. In any case, if I didn't stay, I mean, this poor lady here, well, she'd be up to her neck in mealworms, wouldn't she? And that would never do, would it? Never. No, of course it wouldn't. My cousin, the missile thrush, he helps out a bit as well. Yeah, in fact, if he... Oi, If he helps out any more, I might have to have a word with him. Really, look at that. It's as bad as the rook. I thought he'd never go. Yes, thank you very much. Yes, thank you. I mean, after all, they are provided for me. I allow the missile thrushes and song thrushes to have one now and again, but there's no need to go mad, is there? So, you see, all in all, I'm very happy to be a British robin. I mean, there's the mealworms, there's Harry and the worms he provides, there's the protection by you-know-who. And what? Oh, all right, just one. That's it. And it... Look, I said one, didn't I? God, blimey, he's a deaf thrush. Yes, the protection's very important, you know. Do you know, in France, they still produce cookbooks saying, this amiable little songster is eaten roasted with breadcrumbs. They don't say we get the breadcrumbs before or after. Yes, I'll stay here. I don't even mind the winter, because I've got my people trained, you know. I've even got them trained to plant shrubs that have got lots of berries. Hello, you must have cold feet, Sparrow. Not to mention the mealworms. Roasted with breadcrumbs, indeed. Yeah, talking of food, there's a very good recipe for a sort of pudding that all us birds adore. I mean, the sparrows, the tits, thrushes, robins, everybody. Now, what you do is to put all your bits of fat and bacon rind, etc., in a dish. And any old bits of spaghetti, if you've had spaghetti bolognese, bits of rice. So, no, just a minute. Just hang on, I haven't finished the recipe yet. I hadn't mentioned the currants and the raisins and, chopped nuts and all that. Don't keep doing that, because they can't concentrate on... Listen, you've got to have bacon rind and old spaghetti.
Meet the titmice, or tits as we usually call them. There are 7 different kinds in Britain. The long-tailed tit, the crested tit. These are found only in a few parts of Scotland. Then there's the willow tit, which likes damp woodlands. It's very like the marsh tit, and in fact it wasn't until 1900 that people realised it lived in Britain. And this is the marsh tit, which is actually a woodland bird. The coal tit, mainly associated with coniferous trees. The great tit, and the blue tit, perhaps the best known and best loved of them all. Our story begins in a winter woodland with a mixed flock of tits who've been lucky enough to come across a free handout at a time when finding food in the snow is by no means easy. It's not hard to see why these cheeky, attractive little birds have become such firm favourites. Most of us know them best as visitors to our bird tables. They're often the first to find them and seem to eat almost anything you care to put out. A basket filled with peanuts is a sure attraction to the colourful and acrobatic blue tits. Coal tits often join in. There's one on the right. An upside-down nuthatch is hogging this feeder, while down below a jay, as furtive and wary as ever, picks up the nuts dropped by the smaller birds above. Robins often chase tits away. Ah well, it's more peaceful on the ground. Robins, in fact, don't even seem to like other robins. But nobody is going to challenge this great spotted woodpecker doing a pretty good imitation of a tit as he hangs upside down to feed. Even among the tits themselves, there's a good deal of threatening and posturing as they jostle for a good position. Great tits tend to be the bully boys, but even so, blue tits do pretty well. A cock blackbird seems to feel that all this squabbling is beneath his dignity. Snow doesn't last forever, and once it's gone, feeding becomes easier. On the woodland floor, the leaf litter covers a wealth of hidden seeds, fruits, and other good things. While the blue tit pushes and pokes about among the leaves, the great tits really get cracking. And here comes a coal tit to see what he can find. A marsh tit has joined the others, a totally misleading name since marsh tits hardly ever occur in marshes and are woodland birds. It's wonderful what you can find if you really look for it. Well, sometimes anyway. Tits are not the only birds who feed in the leaf litter, but moorhens are pretty much confined to the ground. Tits can find food at all levels. Blue tits are small enough and light enough to feed right at the end of twigs and cash in on the new season's growth of catkins. Lower down, a marsh tit has pulled off a bud and is removing the outer scales to get at the soft inside. Watch how he holds the bud in his feet while he works at it. Holes and crevices conceal all sorts of things which tits like to eat. This great tit is after the eggs in a spider's cocoon. This long-tailed tit has other ideas. She's more interested in the cocoon itself, especially in the very stickiness and stretch of the fine material which is giving her so much difficulty. She's building a nest high up on the side of an oak tree, an extraordinarily beautiful structure of moss and hair woven together with cobwebs and bits of spider cocoons and covered on the outside with pieces of lichen from the oak itself. Long-tailed tits nest earlier than other tits and are the only ones not to nest inside holes of some sort. Far to the north, in a forest of old Scots pine, a crested tit is calling and establishing its territory. This is the rarest of the 7 species found in Britain and is restricted to pine woodlands in a few parts of the Scottish Highlands. Elsewhere, too, tits are calling and singing as they prepare for the coming nesting season. As well as the song, over 50 different calls make up the great tit's vocabulary. The clear song of the great tit echoes through the wood as one male competes with his neighbour. Hardly as tuneful as a robin, perhaps, but just as effective. The next step is to find somewhere to set up home. Often, the prospective nest hole requires a little extra digging out before it's entirely satisfactory. Not far away, a male marsh tit is showing interest in a likely-looking hole in an elder tree. His partner looks on. His wing-shivering display indicates to his mate that he has found a possible site. It pays to make your mind up quickly when choosing a nest site. Competition for holes can be fierce. This marsh tit had better get on with it. This could easily make a nice home for a great tit. Or a blue tit. Oh well, we better look somewhere else. The blue tit seems to have decided that this hole will do nicely and begins to remove unwanted material from inside. This one is more interested in a crevice in a pine stump. Meanwhile, the long-tailed tits are still busy building. The female collects a feather and takes it into the nest, where it will form part of a soft interior lining which may contain as many as 1,000 feathers. Nearby, her mate has found another spider's cocoon. After a bit of a struggle, he breaks off a sizable piece and approaches the nest. As soon as the female leaves, he flies in and carries out some further structural work. The soft, flexible nest now has a roof, and covered with tiny bits of lichen, is beautifully camouflaged. It has taken both birds about 3 weeks to build this nest. Unlike most of the other hole-nesting tits, the willow tit ignores natural holes and, choosing a rotten branch, stump or post, excavates a complete nest hole. The whole job is usually carried out entirely by the female. If this proves to be a suitable tree, they might come back and use it again next year, but will dig a fresh hole. Crested tits also excavate complete holes, or, like this pair, find a crack and enlarge it into a suitable nest site. The presence of old dead timber is essential to willow tits and crested tits, although the latter occasionally use nest boxes. Back in our southern wood, spring moves on. The first primroses appear, and fresh shades of green brighten the woodland floor, while 2 cock pheasants engage in a boundary dispute. The blue tits are now building a nest in the pine stump, but this one finds a great beakful of moss is just too big to go through the front door. Leaving some outside seems the best solution. Not far away, a coal tit is also collecting moss, the main nest material used by this species. The nest is inside a tree trunk crevice just above the ground, typical of many coal tit sites. This pair have yet to lay, but the first indication of courtship feeding of the female shows that nesting will soon begin in earnest. Spring butterflies are taking to the air. a peacock, and a comma. Elsewhere in the wood, the nesting cycle is more advanced. A pair of great tits have at least 11 eggs. Not surprisingly, they take a bit of covering by the incubating bird. Outside, the male has caught a caterpillar, which he brings to the nest and feeds to the incubating female. The male willow tit, too, brings in a small caterpillar and passes it to his mate. Most tit nests are safe from ground predators, but a hunting weasel could spell trouble. He's small enough to get into many nest holes and is no mean climber. The season advances. By the time the foxgloves are in flower, the bluebells have formed a carpet of colour across the woodland floor. Our willow tits are feeding small young. As the male appears with food, the female comes to meet him and assumes a begging posture, as if seeking to be fed herself. But he barely responds, and instead, ignoring his mate, moves towards the nest, where, after a pause, he finally feeds the hungry youngsters. The great tit also has small young. The male brings in food and passes it to the brooding female, and then leaves quickly. One chick refuses to be fed, but a second seems more hungry. The female leaves carrying a fecal sac, which she will drop well away from the nest site. Both great tits and blue tits time their breeding cycle so that they have young in the nest when small caterpillars, especially those feeding on oaks, are most abundant. These defoliating caterpillars form a major source of food for the nestlings. All kinds of holes may be used by nesting tits. Here, a pair of coal tits are using an abandoned sand martin hole in an old quarry face. While here, where somebody has removed the top of a speed limit sign, a pair of blue tits have moved in to rear a family. There is almost no limit to where these birds might nest. Meanwhile, back in the old pine forest, things have been happening with our crested tit family. The young are almost ready to leave the nest. One more feed. And the promise of another waiting. And the first one is on his way. And here comes another one. And with a little encouragement, off he goes too. first few days in the life of a recently fledged tit are full of danger. One enemy who might be lurking nearby is the sparrowhawk, a specialist in catching small birds for whom inexperienced youngsters are easy meat. Noisy young birds clamoring to be fed are an obvious target. Blue tits and spotted flycatchers are equally at risk. Natural mortality in the first winter is very high, and some of this is due to predators. In the case of the young tits, only about 1 in 5 is likely to survive until the following spring. There's nothing cruel about sparrowhawks eating tits, young or old. They too have a family to feed. Even so, we can perhaps be forgiven for not entirely appreciating the satisfied look of this well-fed sparrowhawk chick. The breeding season is over. A red poll comes down to the pool to drink, while a blue tit is just one of the many birds enjoying a bath. Feather care is all important. After his bath, the male goldcrest spends quite some time drying out and getting his plumage in order. A fat wood pigeon is just as fastidious. Late summer brings elderberries. These are a valuable source of food for many small birds, and blue tits are no exception. From being largely insectivorous in spring and summer, they are now going back to a much more varied diet. Whoops, lost it. Yewberries also attract birds. Blackbirds swallow the berries whole, and the stones pass right through. Great tits, however, eat the stones themselves. They extract the stone and leave the flesh behind. The appearance of red admirals signals the end of summer. Autumn. The leaves have fallen and a grey squirrel forages on the woodland floor. Once again, the leaf litter provides a worthwhile source of food for tits, including perhaps something hidden by squirrels, like a buried nut. The squirrel, meantime, has found an acorn, perhaps one he buried there himself. This great tit has uncovered a beech nut and gets to work on it without delay. Once again, we can see how tits use their strong feet to hold the food item steady while they attack it with their short, sharp, strong bills. Autumn brings some renewed song from the great tit. But before long, the days shorten, the temperature falls, and our story comes full circle. Once again, small birds must look for food wherever they can find it. Some will perish, but others will survive, perhaps like the tits, with a little help from us to see them through the worst of the winter weather. As they delight us with their antics at our bird tables and nut baskets, we in return may be helping them in their struggle to survive.